I was dreaming of the past, and my heart was beating fast. I began to lose control. I began to lose control. I didn't mean to hurt you. I'm sorry that I made you cry. I didn't mean to hurt you. I'm just a jealous guy. I was feeling insecure. You might not love me anymore. I was shivering inside. I was shivering inside. I didn't mean to hurt you. I'm sorry that I made you cry. I didn't mean to hurt you. I'm just a jealous guy. I was dreaming of the past, and my heart was beating fast. I began to lose control. I began to lose control. I didn't mean to hurt you. I'm sorry that I made you cry. I didn't mean to hurt you. Oh, I'm just a jealous guy. I'm just a jealous guy. I'm just a stubborn jealous guy.
Now, the solo in Jealous Guy took quite some time to work out, and the reason for that is it's played over a lot of chords, and that's not really a strong point of mine, to be able to come up with solos over, you know, quite what I consider to be quite a complex chord progression. Now, the reason why it was I thought of it as complex was because I didn't really know the song very well. I mean, I'd heard it before. I think I'd heard Brian Ferry's version of it back in the day, but I didn't know the song. And Mouse was really insistent that he wanted to do a rockabilly version of this song. He'd always loved it, and I think it turned out really well. I mean, it's one of my favourite songs on the whole album, and I'm very proud of the solo. But again, how I look at solos, how I sort of see them in my head, is always based around the chords of the song. So once you know the chords of the song, it gives you a head start in working out solos. Now, I know that sounds like a very basic, perhaps a silly piece of advice, but very often, and I know I've made this mistake over the years, when it comes to learning a solo in a song, if I don't really know the song, it's very difficult to work out the solo. Sometimes I have to remind myself that I have to start at the bottom. I have to start at the very beginning of the learning process, and that is listening to the beat of the song to work out what sort of beat it's played to, even, because the way you can play a solo is affected very much by the beat of the song. So if it's played to a swing beat, there's certain little skips and little bubbles that you can do with solos that you wouldn't be able to do on a shuffle, for example, or a totally different beat altogether. So listening to the beat of the song, listening to the rhythm of it. Of course, the next thing then is to work out the chords. Now that's something I never used to do when I first picked up the guitar and I was playing along to the Shadows or Dwayne Eddy records, you know. I never took the time to work out the chords to them. If I'd have worked out the chords beforehand, I would have then probably been able to work out the solos a lot quicker. So a song like Jealous Guy, because it wasn't a song I wasn't aware of, I initially struggled with working out a solo because I was too busy trying to play the song properly before I could even think of a solo. Of course, the truly great guitar players can work out solos to very complex chord progressions in an instant. But of course, that's why they're the great guitar players. So let's look at the chords first, then I'll play the solo, then I'll play it slowly, and then we'll talk about certain parts of the solo. Okay? So now we know the chords, we've got a pretty good idea of where we need to be when it comes to the solos. The first part of the solo, of course, is playing that F chord here on the G, on the 3rd fret. And now we're going to a D. So that D shape, that's how I look at a solo. I can play around that. I can use all the notes in that chord. Now we're going to an E minor, and I came up with this little lick. It's a country lick, really. It's normally I would play that in an E major, or a C. That kind of a thing, where what you're doing is you're pinching with the strings. With your picking hand here, with your plectrum and your middle finger, I'm pinching those top two strings. It's trying to get the rhythm right, because it's a kind of a bouncy rhythm, and that's probably the thing that will require a certain amount of thought and consideration here. And like with all solos, you just play it really slowly, really slowly, over and over and over and over again, until your brain and your fingers and your hands and everything is all connected together and understand exactly where they all need to be and what they all need to be doing at the same time. But that takes time, you know. So nice little riff there. Now we're going back to the D again. That will repeat itself again, but instead of going to the, we just go. Because we want to go to the C very quickly. And again, I'm using my plectrum and my ring finger to kind of snap those strings together. And as always, as I've explained before, pick always hits down on the string, and your fingernail picks up, and that's how you get that sort of snapping sound. And again, C chord played in an F shape here on the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th fret becomes a C. But you're only playing the notes, the two notes on the 3rd and 2nd strings. Using your little finger to bounce that back onto the 8th fret on the B string. You're playing both strings together. Now we're going back up to a G. All based around the F shape here on the G chord. And again, it's a lot of the work's being done on your right hand here. Plectrum hits down on the 3rd and 2nd string, finger picks up on the fingernail picks up on the top E string. Do that really fast. Nice little bouncy rhythm there, all around the F shape. So as long as your fingers are in that shape there, you're in the right place. Now we're going up. Now we're going down to an F. So I'm just picking the first note here on the top E. But as you can see, again, my fingers are going into the F shape. Now we need to go to a C chord. So you can play a C here, you can also play it here. And if you play it as a bar chord, then it opens up lots of other possibilities of how you can play around that chord. So I'm playing over it in order to get through it, if you see what I mean, because the first part of it I'm going on the G note here on the bottom E, and I'm kind of hitting both of those strings at the same time, the bottom E and the A string, just to get a little bit more of a growl out of it. Playing those double string stuff, really. And it's basically the boogie pattern. But you're trying to hit two strings at the same time, all the way through that figure, just to make it sound a little bit more fuller. Then we go back to the G again. Exactly the same thing that we did before, but now we want to try and find another F shape. Now again, this brings me to another chord which works very, very well, and that is, it's a minor. But as you can see by the way your fingers play that particular chord, it's not dissimilar to the F shape. But it works really, really well when you're playing in a major. And the way I always look at it is this. Here's the F shape. Here's the F chord. Now if we count 1, 2, 3, 4 frets up the neck, if you play that minor shape, you can solo around that in F and it will sound fine. It will sound absolutely fine. And I use that an awful lot. Probably too much, but you know, I really like it, so I throw it in quite a lot. So instead of playing any really sort of difficult notes around it, I'm just now, another way of looking at it is that you've also got the D shape here, which would be, if you was to play D, the D shape here, that's another F. So again, you can work out soloing around that chord. Which will link you back to the lower F. Right, now I've forgotten where I am in the solo, so let me just remind myself. Now, that's right, that's where we go to the A sharp or B flat, whichever way you want to look at it. Let's look on it as an A sharp, shall we? And again, it's F shape. And the reason why I play it like that is because I need to bring myself back to the D. Let me just remind myself what chords I'm playing there. So we're going from a G to a D to an E minor, which can also be played here. So that's exactly what I'm playing here. Now the E minor. Then back to the C to end pretty much the solo. With a bit of tremolo wobble on the end there, and then a nice little banjo roll. And try and get, when you're playing the second note, which is with your index finger, try and get that to do a sort of a pull off. Oh, last note is a G. And I tell you why that pull off is very helpful, because it helps ring out the open note that you're playing on the G. So let's go back to that E minor again. Now remember, D, there's also a D here. And that's how you're playing the D shape here. That's how you're playing those D notes, because you've got a D here. And because it's all around the part of the neck where you want to be, E minor. And just look at the chord. Just play the chord as a bar. There's your root note. There we're going into the second part of that chord shape, if you want to look at it like that, where it's that three note thing that we were looking at just a minute ago in the F position. And it's only 2 frets down, and you're in an F shape. But here we are in the E minor. Just get those last 3 notes in there, just going down from one another, 1 fret at a time. Nice little figure that. I was quite proud of that when I came up with it, because it wasn't something that I thought about too much. I was just sort of faffing about and trying to find things that would work off the top of my head without even really thinking about it. And this was the first thing, before I even put the whole solo together, this was one of the first bits of it that I came up with. And I thought, whoa, I better remember that. And fortunately I did. It's very hard to play slow. But you're where you want to be in order to get back to the C chord, to do that nice little... And there you go, that's Jealous Guy.